Okay, this is first live stream ever. Welcome. See if we have anybody on. No. So let's try to get some people here. See if we can't somehow share this. This looks like a share button to me. Hey, there we go. Okay. See if we can't share this in a couple other groups. Definitely going to have to edit this video. We're already 2 minutes in, and we don't seem to have anybody in here yet. So just keep sharing. We get a few people in here. Okay. Just when you come on in for the live video, just let me know and shoot your questions away. Sharing a few groups right now. Hopefully that'll help. Participation up. So far, we're 3 minutes in. It's just me still. Like I said, we'll see what happens. It's the first time I'm doing this, and hopefully we get some participants. Let's see here. Sharing group. All right. Well, that's should be a big enough audience. We have somebody in here. Cool. Just chime in. Maybe tell us where you're from, and shoot your questions away. Any type of composition, orchestration. Oh, well, there we go. We down to just me again, it seems. Well, we'll go for about 10 minutes. Oh, someone's here. What can we do for you today? What type of questions do you got? Just type them on out, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. Any types of tips, tricks you're looking for? Any type of question? No, I guess. All right, seems like we got. I was just gonna say, seems like we have somebody in. Now we have somebody in again. Okay. Like I said, if you got any questions, just shoot them in the text, and I will answer them promptly. So I'm going to put those people coming in. If you don't, if you don't ask a question, there's not much for me to talk about. Here's I could talk about some random things while we're waiting for questions to come in. Let's think here. How about we start off with something that's severely neglected in modern music? That's melody. One thing about melody is that it's you got to have proper line. So what happens is there's these things called tendency tones, and the list of tendency tones starts off with 2 to 1, 7 to 1. These are all scale degrees. You got 4 going to 3, 6 going to 5, and then hello to everybody joining us, by the way. You got other ones as well, where we're kind of like secondary tendency tones. Okay, and these secondary tendency tones mimic the primary ones. So, for example, when you have 4 going to 3, which is a minor second going down, or 7 going to 1, you can mimic these very easily in like sharp 4 going to 5, or flat 6 going to 5. And so these secondary tendency tones are very useful in creating intrigue in a melodic line. Another thing that's very important in a melodic line is the overall architecture of it. Where is the high point? Where's the low point? And there's no such thing as a wrong shape. There's only a shape that can assist with getting across a specific mood. Say if you want your climax to come at the end, because that's where the most exciting part is, whether it's a video game you're doing or TV or film, and its high point is toward the end, then you're going to want the highest point in the music to come at the end. Now, if the high point comes earlier in the middle, then that's where you want the highest point in the music to be. So a lot of the things that you also have to worry about is things like motivic development. There's many different things and aspects to motivic development, such as augmentation, diminution, retrograde, inversion, and other things. So augmentation is simply just when you either augment the pitches or the rhythms or both. Diminution is when you contract them, make them shorter. And retrograde is when you put them backwards. The inversion is you flip it on its head, kind of to speak. And, so there's lots of little different tips and tricks here to do with melody. Sometimes I find that when I look over a score from somebody who's submitted it to me, a lot of the time they have too many ideas. They're not taking a singular idea, running with it in order to bring it to the height. Beethoven, for example, often works with very limited material, and take his famous Fate motif, ba 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 ba. He uses that particular motif in his Symphony Number 5 over and over and over again, just highlighted in different ways. So that would be how you handle melody. See that we have somebody who's come in. You have any questions for me today? Please just kind of shoot them over. We're just kind of going over a few different things, whatever people want. So whatever tips and tricks you want, just kind of just text over to me. Be like, hey, I'm interested in this, and I will talk about it. So maybe the next subject we'll talk about, if there's no questions off the top of people's heads, is harmony. I'm a big fan of harmony. I studied harmony extensively, 4 years after college, intensively, self-studies, because I didn't feel that college really offered enough in the way of harmony. There's so much to it. What I found is consonance and dissonance might be the first thing that I go over with harmony. So there's a big misconception about it, that harmony is very basic. With consonance and dissonance and harmony, by opening up a chord, you instantaneously make it more consonant. So, for example, if you have a C minor 9 chord and that D is wedged in between, if you lift the D up an octave, immediately the D becomes less dissonant just because you've taken it up an octave. But it goes further than that. We can take and we can extrapolate based upon that tones that are moved further down actually become more dissonant. And the reason for this is because they're closer together in frequency. So, and higher up, obviously, they're further away in frequency. They may look like they're close together on the page. So if you have a closed position C minor chord and it's written up in the stratosphere, it's going to sound much more consonant than a C minor chord or C minor 7 chord written in the basement of the piano, or really any orchestration. And of course, timbre plays an effect in this, plays a role in this. But, so that's pretty much that. The consonance and dissonance is ruled by register just as much as it is strictly by a close series of intervallic relationships. So compound intervals, they're cool. Do we have any questions? You got a couple people in here. Any questions? I will take any questions at all. Otherwise, I'll kind of just move from topic to topic, discussing whatever comes to mind. So maybe the next thing I'll talk about is doublings on various different instruments as far as orchestration is concerned. So kind of hopping around topic to topic here. So some interesting combinations that I've come across in my day are piccolo and tuba is an interesting combination. And really when you have a combination like that, what makes it interesting is the vast difference in register and the vast difference in timbre. And a combination like that should only be used sparingly for very certain effect, either eerie or perhaps, just kind of outer worldly. So that's an interesting tip maybe that I can have for the audience here today. So we've got 5 people in here now. Excellent. shoot me a message. Tips and tricks, Q&A. So back to orchestration, though. Some more common ones which you probably all know about is, for example, when you have flute and oboe and octaves, oboe and clarinet. Here's an interesting one about oboe and clarinet, which a lot of people don't apply in their scores. And that is you can actually reverse the voice order. So you put clarinets above and oboes below. This is not to say you do that in the actual score order while you're writing out your piece, but just that the pitches are reversed so that the clarinets are above in sound, not in score placement. And I find that that's particularly effective in passages where it doesn't place the clarinets too high. I'm a clarinetist, and I don't really like to play screechy notes. Matter of fact, most players I know don't like to play really screechy notes, so try not to write in the altissimo register, which is the highest register. Try to keep it, transposed. It would be below high C. And then the oboes would go right underneath. Great effect. Kind of has, let's see how I would put it into words. The sound that it has is kind of piercing in a way, just to the soul, not actually piercing. It's like it comes through loud and clear. It's just something I like to use. Fool around with it a little bit. You might find it interesting for you too. Any questions at all? Feel free. Got 5 people in here so far. People coming in and out. Maybe another topic. Maybe we can talk about some more about orchestration. Maybe we can talk about some harmony. Just shoot me a text, and we'll do the best we can here. First time live streaming. Hopefully we make this a regular thing, and hopefully I'm a little bit less anxious and more put together. The next thing maybe we'll talk about maybe in the woodwinds. Woodwinds are hard, first of all, to orchestrate. And the reason is because of the different timbres that are involved. Another good combination that works really well is flute and bassoon, 2 octaves apart. That works really well. Clarinets and bassoons together in kind of like a crowd texture, that works well. Another combination that works very well is oboes and bassoons. That works really well. Hopefully this is all somewhat helpful to you folks. I'm not really sure about your backgrounds. So you chime right in, tell me what's up. Maybe we'll go on to the brass. Brass is a little bit simpler because with brass, you have a what's called homogeneous sound that, very similar, all the instruments sound. One thing you have to be careful of, there's actually a couple. First thing that you got to be careful of is horns. If you're in a very loud, busy texture, you have to be careful for your horns so that they can actually be heard. Because they'll get covered up very easily in a loud, busy texture. So be careful of that. Trombones, if you place them too low, what happens is that it gets really, I don't like the word muddy, so let's not use that word muddy. It gets dense. How about that? Gets dense. Oh, keep talking, Gordon. I enjoy your sharing your knowledge. Well, thank you very much, Enrique. I really enjoy you coming to this this first live show that I'm hosting. So when you place the trombones too low, it gets dense, man. And great combinations in the brass section. I was actually just going over this at one point with somebody, and good combinations include trumpet and trombones, and another good combination, although it never really occurred to me as a very good combination because of how much the horns can get covered up, but the horns and trumpets. Make sure it's at you do one or two things. The first thing is either it's mezzo forte or softer, and that way the horns come through loud and clear. Or if it's forte and above, make sure you have two horns for each brass part. So like two horns to one trumpet, for example. Let's see, another thing about brass, the tuba and the bass trombone. So what happens often in scores that I see, and even in my own scores, I'm kind of ashamed to admit, but something we have to work on really is independence of parts. Like often I'll see, even in my own work, like that I'll be doubling the bass trombone and the tuba too much. So good thing about tuba, it acts well as a fifth horn if you have four horns in your orchestral scores. Another thing that it's good for is like, say that you're in a situation where it's soft and you have the tenor trombones and even a bass underneath that up higher. And then you can add the tuba in, and it just kind of acts really well as the bottom in a nice soft padded texture. Everybody knows about trumpets, as far as, and trumpet was my first instrument. And one thing I always hated seeing was just fanfares all over the place. Big thing is that everyone can use trumpets as like a melodic instrument. You don't need to just write fanfares all over the place or little decorative figurations. You can put in, good melody line goes a long way in the trumpets. We like playing legato. We like playing really just chorale texture. That's one thing that we really enjoy playing. We like kind of being the center of attention, I guess. It's an old joke that says, how many trumpet players does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer to the question is it only takes one, because the rest of the world revolves around us. That was a little joke I heard once, and I found that quite funny. Onto the string section. The string section is totally homogeneous. Probably the easiest to write for. I find, similar to the brass, that the low end seems to be missed out on, because we have the contrabass, double bass, and then the cello, and they seem to double a lot in the parts that I see, and that's just not necessary. You can have independence of those parts. Maybe you drop the cello out for a while. Maybe you drop out the double bass for a while. Maybe you have different type of techniques going on. Okay, let's see. Enrique says, the orchestration is overlooked. Thank you for mentioning writing for it. Intimidates me. Oh, yeah, that's no problem. Actually, I was a tuba player for a while too. Actually, there's a lot of different instruments I play. So if you have specific questions about different instruments, ranging from, let's see, I play flutes, clarinets, saxophones, horn, trumpets, tubas, trombones, dabble with percussion, and I sing. Oh, and I play keyboards. So if you have questions about virtually any instruments, I have pretty intimate knowledge about all the different ones, and what I like to see in a score, and what I absolutely hate to see in a score. So that's definitely a point there. So, just feel free to ask a question about like if tuba is like the bane of your existence, then tuba is the way to go. Here's some interesting things about tuba. It's not just a bass line instrument. You can actually get away with, if you score appropriately, it being melody. So it's a situation where that might come up. I would say put tuba with clarinets and flute, or even tuba with strings, just padded strings, something that doesn't get in the way of the tuba. So it would have to be the upper part of the strings. That's the part about orchestration that I see people goof on. Is what happens is they cloud things up. It's like you put two low instruments together and you expect one to come out. The only way it's going to come out is if one line is active in motion and one line is not. Sometimes it's better just to not score two low instruments together if you want one to come out, and just have a medium register and a high register kind of accompany it. And that can be helpful. So that's a little bit of a tip. Basically, any instrument can be a melody instrument. Any instrument can be kind of provide accompaniment with other instruments involved, unless it's a keyboard instrument, in which case it can provide the accompaniment, no sweat. So Enrique asks, the high register balances it then. I wouldn't say, I don't really like the word balances it. It complements it well. Well, hello. Let's see. I'm going to butcher this. Spungy Fui. I probably totally butchered that. But hi to you too. Listen, if you got any questions, feel free. I do apologize to everyone, but I am a smoker, and I'm kind of needing a cigarette right now. So I do apologize about that. Questions, comments, concerns. Love to have them. Do I like Fortnite? Well, I don't see what relevance that has to music, but I'll answer the question anyways. I've never actually played, but I hear the music in it is killer, which probably segues to a nice topic, which is music in video games. Yeah, thanks for the encouragement, Enrique. I probably need to quit smoking. But it's good to know you smoke too. But with music and games and film and TV, it's like it's so vital to set the mood just right. If you have a sad, there's some really cliche things like sad and somber get minor keys. Angry gets minor. Now you might say to yourself, well, if angry and sad both get minor, what's the difference? The difference is speed. Okay, the tempo, the metronome mark. Okay, fast music tends to be more agitated, while slower music tends to be more sad or pensive in the minor key. Major is often associated with happy, but there are a whole list of other like modes, if you all know about your modes. And it's like you got Dorian and Phrygian and Lydian, and each of those has a different character. For those that don't know about modes, what you can do is simply start a C scale on a different pitch. And each one of those is a different mode. So you have C Ionian, then step up, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, then G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, and then finally the most useless one to me is B Locrian, unless you're a jazz improviser, in which case you probably use it every once in a while. It's the Locrian scale. Personally, I prefer other scale types for my minor 7 flat 5 chords. Can I drink a cup of water? Well, actually, I have I don't know what's up with that. But I have right here, I have some wonderful coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, if you all have it where you're from. And I very much enjoy my Dunkin' Donuts. This is not a sponsored live stream, by the way. Dunkin' Donuts didn't pay me to say that, but it's good stuff. You always called it the friggin' mode. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I feel about it. With a minor 7-flat-5 chord, there are just so many better options. So with chord scales, a way to do it is to actually just write out the chord and then fill in the notes that are in between. And that leaves you with many more options. Like say I got a C major 7 chord, C, E, G, B, right? I don't need to fill it in with, if I'm in C major, a D, an F, and an A. I could do D sharp, F sharp, A sharp, so that each one is a chromatic approach to the chord tone. And that's kind of a cool way to look at that. Maybe that's helpful to somebody. So any questions, comments, concerns, feel free. Do I like chocolate? These are some odd questions. I like chocolate sounds, rich sounds. But to be more serious, yes, I do like chocolate. It's an odd question. I don't know. Chocolate sounds would be like, to me, the rich chocolatey sound of trombones in that in the middle, in their middle register, not high register, not low, but middle, right in the middle. And I like an open sound with trombones. Fan facing. Yeah, I got a fan above me, and I got so if there's any extraneous noise or anything, I do apologize. Other chocolate sounds are here's a good one. It's an old Tchaikovsky trick. Is taking the violas and the cellos, dividing them, so that first stand gets one note, second stand gets another note, so divisi for each of them, so 4 notes, and you do like a chorale texture. I find that very chocolatey. I never thought I'd use the word chocolatey to describe something, but it seemed like a good segue. So it looks like we're having a lot of fun. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, unfortunately, because the missus is going to be coming through the door, and I need to pay her some attention when she comes through the door. I was about to make myself made out of. It's a waste of time. You're a very funny man. I like that. That's funny. So, can the tuba punch, or does it more like flutes? Okay. I think I understand that question. The tuba is a very versatile instrument. Don't think of it as just having one particular sound. It can articulate. It can do staccato, marcato, legato. All the articulations that you normally associate with other instruments, it can do just fine. So, yeah, I do have actually a dog. This is an interesting segue. And his name is Gizmo. He's an emotional support dog. And I'm writing currently a piece for Flute Trio. And what's interesting about this Flute Trio piece is that it switches off between various different flutes. So the E-flat flautist, there is such an instrument, switches between E-flat, alto flute, and piccolo, as well as regular flute. So he doubles on all those instruments. And all the other flutes, the alto flute, which is the third flute, also obviously doubles on concert flute. And that piece will be premiering soon. And I also have an album coming out, just FYI, coming out late next year. It's a series of piano preludes. Anna Grieg will be writing some music for it. Should be a really good time. So we're coming towards the end, like I said here. I have no idea when the missus will be popping through the door, but I don't want total chaos to ensue. Any last minute questions? Anything is good. You know, if not, I'll just pick a topic at random. So that's just sort of the person I am. Anything's good, guys. You know, try to make it music related though. I don't mind segueing from non-musical questions to musical ones, but let's try to keep on topic. Oh, okay, yeah, no, thanks for stopping in, Enrique. We'll try to set it up so that it comes at a specific time and not just random, because today was kind of random, just to test things out, to see who would get on and what was going on. So have a good afternoon or day or evening or whatever. Yeah, cool, man. So in closing, probably the last subject I wanted to touch upon is like finishing up pieces. You know, I find that the Harry. I'm going to read this from a musical context. Yes, I like the Harry Potter series as far as the music is concerned. I think John Williams did a fabulous job, as well as the other composers involved with that series. In particular, Deathly Hollow was probably my favorite as far as music is concerned. Just really ominous music. Moving on, codas, tag endings to your pieces and stuff. I find lately what I've been doing that helps me kind of listeners to grab their attention is to end a piece on a chord that doesn't bring finality to the work. So don't end it on a one chord. I've been ending things on like, a dominant 13-9 chord. So that'd be like a G7 chord with a 9 and a 13. And I find that really helps to kind of like make the listener say, "Ooh, I want more." And then they're set up for the next piece that's for the concert series. It also works particularly good for suspense. So, any last minute questions? Be the last one I field. Could be anything about music. It's why we're all here. No? Okay, listen, it's been real fun hanging out with everybody today. We had people pop in and out. We're going to try to make this a regular thing. So, and, just, be nice to answer different questions and try to be there. My main thing is just like, I try to really give back to the community. And this is just a new way to give back to the musical community that's given me so much. And like I said, it'll be more polished next time I come in and answer different questions. So, signing off. Take care.
Bye.